Good evening, Transpac race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis giving you the July 16th daily analysis of the 49th Transpac. We are here on a beautiful day. Of course, every day is beautiful here in Oahu. And thinking a lot about the guys that are still out there on the course. We had a tremendous number of boats finish in the last 24 hours. You can see here on the tracker, those that still have their trackers on, there's quite a few boats all stacked up here in the harbor, and just a few actually finishing a couple hours ago. The one boat that's inside the 100-mile perimeter is Azure, the Cal 40. These are the guys that, if you remember a few days ago, helped out a Division 4 boat, Medusa, Santa Cruz 52, with a rendezvous at sea to try to transfer 5 gallons of diesel fuel over to them. That was a tremendous act of generosity and seamanship to do that. It's not a little bit of a tricky exercise. But so one thing that's significant about that, if we go over to the leaderboard, is in the Division 7, which is where Azure is. You can see that they're right now runners-up in corrected time to Kubinaran. Kubinaran sitting on top of the leaderboard now. They finished early this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning local time. But the corrected elapsed time has been closing down and closing down and closing down, even without any correction being made for Azure's time that they spent with this assistance. Because what will happen is when they get in, they'll ask for time from the jury to offset the time that they spent in the rescue attempt. So the guys in Kubinaran are, of course, not going to begrudge it if they get knocked off the top of the podium because of the phenomenal effort that Azure made. But right now, it's interesting that that's been closing. We've seen that gap go back and forth a little bit, and because a lot of it's just based on estimates of when Azure will finish. This is quite a close gap there. One of the reasons is because Azure is going fast. I mean, the Cal 40 going 8 knots is rolling along pretty nicely. So they've got distance of finish 89 miles. I think on the live tracker it's less than that. It's more like down in the 60s. So they'll be finishing here in the next 5 hours or so, 6 hours, maybe up in around midnight, a little before midnight, and certainly be happy to get here. That might be our Division 7 winner in that class. The other guys that are still out here are rolling along 6.6 knots, 7.6, a little better. Mirthmaker here 6.4. Sequoia, the other Cal 40, 6.6 knots. That's more normal. That's kind of closer to the average speed a Cal 40 would make, and the conditions are pretty steady. We're not getting any stories of there being a super light air. The Russian team on the Grand Mistral 80 is also rolling along 9.3 knots, so they're getting up to a speed that would be appropriate for a 80-foot boat. We were speculating earlier whether they were flying a spinnaker in this race because it didn't seem like they had very high speeds for an 80-foot boat on a course like this. But nonetheless, they're rolling along and probably pass a few of these guys just by being a few knots faster. So that's, and the tail end Charlies, I think these guys will probably get in, I think sometime tomorrow, late tomorrow. Monday, so that'll be a 2-week trip for them. These guys up here are the tail end Charlies. It's kind of the battle for the basement between Cabernet Sky going 6.2 knots at 380 out, and Castor Pollux multi-hull, but a multi-hull not like the first to finish multi-hulls, a little smaller, a little slower, 8.4 knots. So we'll see. There is a tail end Charlie award. We'll see who gets that. I'll have a better idea of that this time tomorrow. One feature I wanted to let everybody know about that's not going to have a bearing at all for this race, but certainly as a reminder, let's close those out. certainly is a reminder of what happens this time of year on this race course, and that's this feature down here. This storm that's gathering strength. Apparently, it's at hurricane force winds. There has a prediction to get that way. If you go forward in time, up to about the 20th or so of July, so that's 4 days from now, you can see where it's moved. If you believe this Euro model medium range forecast, you can see that this develops and strengthens, and then up on the 22nd starts to really intersect the race course. So fortunately, nobody's going to experience that. That's something the delivery crews certainly will have their eye on for their planned trips to get back to the coast. So the guys that are going to wait certainly till the end of the week may either elect to try to get out earlier or just wait it out for a few days and let that thing play through. But that's just a reminder of how weather this time of year on this race course can have some funny turns. 2 years ago, we had something similar to that with a hurricane passing a little further south of the race course, and we got some beautiful surf here, but also some weird weather. So that's it for our show today. The real news is what's happening on the docks and the teams enjoying the hospitality here at Hawaii Yacht Club and Waikiki Yacht Club. Just really a festive atmosphere for everybody coming in. So I'll say so long for now. This is Dobbs Davis from Seahorse Magazine, and we'll probably see you again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.